All right, here we go. This is the March Awaken Man Community group session. We're doing the Husband on Fire content today. A lot of you guys are aware that there's a black book, a relationship secrets black book, and that's where this information is coming from. But if you haven't read the book yet, I don't know why, first of all, but second of all, you don't have to have read it to have this be powerful for you. So create the spark in your relationship, whether you need to win her back or take it to the next level. These are the steps that are outlined in the How to Be Masculine in Marriage Blueprint and the Black Book, the Relationship Secrets Black Book. And I'm going to go over them with you live and in person now. So steps to be on fire as a husband. This is basically what we're going to be going over here in the next hour. Man up. 2, get support. 3, forgiveness. 4, change the game. 5, focus. 6, 90-day challenge mindset. You're probably wondering, what do those things mean? And that's what I'm going to be talking about. So number 1 is man up. And by the way, if you, Caleb, are able to want to chime in at any point, go ahead. I want this to be interactive. And so obviously if you have a lot of background noise, don't do that. But if you're wanting to chime in, go for it. So step 1 is man up. So what are we talking about with that? Basically, we're talking about taking responsibility for the situation. The Black Book, the Relationship Secrets Black Book, spends most of the time just kind of going through that, you know, getting you to realize the 3 kind of false beliefs about relationships, and then asking you to take ownership of that, to basically take responsibility for the fact that you're in a crappy relationship, or if your relationship dynamic with your wife isn't exactly what you want. There is a component of, you know, it's not necessarily your fault or her fault because we were raised in this situation. We're a product of our culture and society. But the fact is, you can't change anything that you are powerless about. So if you don't take responsibility for it, if you don't basically take your balls back, own your own balls, right? You are your own man. Own yourself. So if you are powerless and a victim in the situation, you can't do anything about it. So I'm asking you to take 100% responsibility for where you're at. If your wife isn't, you know, how you want her to be, or if the relationship isn't how you want it to be, you caused that. That's the mindset. You trained her to act the way she does with you. So the good news about that is, if you take responsibility for that and you realize that I trained my wife to be this way, as kind of crazy and ridiculous as that sound, if you own that mindset, then you can train her to be the way you would like her to be. I know I'm going to get hate mail from some people for using those words, but what I really mean is take responsibility, own the situation so that you can be powerful in it, that you can own it. Does that make sense? I believe it does. All right.
Makes sense to me, Scott.
All right, fantastic. Step 2 is get support. So get support is basically you need help. You need help with this process. Again, we are a product of our culture and our society. So we don't know any different in some cases. And a lot of times with the guys I've been working with, they've never even heard this. They're like, wait a second, I don't have to just do everything my wife says. I don't have to be a total nice guy all the time. I don't have to be just go along with whatever she says or whatever emotion she's dealing with at this moment. That's crazy. I never heard that before. And I was that way too. I never heard this stuff. And I needed some help. And so does every guy who's going through that. And that's part of this whole awakened man experience is get mentored. Find a coach, find a mentor, be a part of the community. In the Awakened Man community, there are people who are farther along on this journey than you are. I know guys that are farther along on the journey than I am, and I seek their help. And I also, part of the process is once you start to like have these light bulbs go off, you have these epiphanies, you understand that, actually, my wife can actually be more attracted to me if I don't do everything she says. What? That is a crazy light bulb. So as soon as you realize that, you start to like test that and see the results of it in your relationship. Now go find another guy who hasn't had that light bulb go off yet and show him the truth. And so mentor someone else. And the way that you really learn something and the way you really experience mastery is to teach others, help others walk through this journey. See someone else. There's Darren. I'm going to unmute you, Darren, or you can control your own mute, Darren. I'm just allowing you to talk when you want to. Feel free to jump in anytime. All right. So step 3 is forgiveness. Oh man, this is so important. I mean, forgiveness is a part of relationships because, and actually it's interesting. I just did a post about your spouse isn't perfect. You know, I kind of had this Captain Obvious moment, right? That my spouse isn't perfect. Well, the good news about that is when I realize that she's not perfect, I can stop holding her to this standard of perfection, right? I can let her be who she is. And the opposite of kind of that standard is total 100% acceptance. So I'm a little off track, a little tangent there, but forgiveness in relationships is important because we need forgiveness, we need grace. But in this particular process, the step-by-step process of being a husband on fire, the first thing you need to do is forgive yourself. Like I said, you have allowed this stuff to happen. Give yourself a break. Give yourself grace. Forgive yourself. I mean, I don't know how bad your situation is, but I got my situation to a place where my wife and I were in tears, feeling hopeless on our bathroom floor, and we were talking about how are we going to wrap this up. Just, you know, not because we were like hating each other or, you know, fighting like crazy, but because we had come to this hopeless place and we cared about each other too much to keep putting each other through this. But we also cared about our kids too much to like put them through, you know, a nasty divorce or separation. So we're sitting there having that real conversation, like, how do we do this? How do we get out of the situation we're in, but not create a horrible situation for our kids? We had that conversation. So that's how hopeless we were. We were done mentally and emotionally. Thankfully, fast forward, we kind of discovered some of these truths that I'm walking you through right here. At least I did about 2 months later, and I started doing this process. And it was the starting of the turnaround for us. And that's several years ago. But the first person you need to forgive is yourself for creating this situation. And then forgive your wife, you know, because she's obviously not blameless in this situation. Again, I want you to take step 1, total responsibility. You did this, you created this, this is your problem, this is your mess, so that you can own that, you can own your transformation. Part of it, though, is this mindset that shifts when you forgive your wife for all of the crappy stuff she's done. when you honestly from your heart forgive her, and you don't even have to tell her that you're forgiving her. It's great if you do, but it's all about what happens in your own heart and your own mind when you forgive. All right, and then the third thing to do in step 3 is ask for forgiveness. You were a jerk too, you weren't perfect, so ask for forgiveness. Ask her to forgive you. Let's see, am I seeing a hand up?
Yeah, that's me, Scott.
Okay, go ahead. Just go ahead and chime in whenever you want. You can interrupt. This is supposed to be interactive. We just don't have very many people, so I'm doing more talking than I'd like. So just jump in.
Okay, I guess I'm used to the normal rules that you have in place when I'm communicating with you, but
Good boy.
I'm just boy. Yeah. I think I want to just kind of reinforce what you said there in step 1, because I know for me, in the 9 or so months that I've been working with you, like that was probably took the longest of anything, was for me to recognize the role that I was playing in it, because I felt like such a victim to what was happening. Like, oh my gosh, this happened and that happened, and she said this and this was going on here, and I just felt so powerless. But it was like, once I finally grasped that I was playing a role in that, like then things have changed fairly rapidly once I understood that. So that's the biggest thing. And I've got some guys right now that I'm talking to and that I'm trying to help, and it's like helping them to understand that they have played a role in this, and that they continue to play a role in it, and things are going to just keep going the way they are until you finally, and you can't really change anything if you don't think you have any power over it or you have a role in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess I just kind of wanted to reinforce that, because again, for me, I think that's probably the hardest thing that was probably the hardest thing for me to grasp, because otherwise I just felt like, man, this is happening and that's happening, and I felt totally powerless.
Yeah, I remember, if I can tell, that whole, we did a little bit of a NLP exercise on you, and it was almost like I almost witnessed an exorcism in the room. Like I was in the room with you when you had this like full emotional body experience, and I literally saw you. It was visible and palpable to see you transform when you took ownership. But before, you said something about, it's like I've got her foot on my forehead and I'm under her power. And then when, we did a little exercise, and you realized that as much as that felt real, you were able to let it go. And anything else you want to add to that?
Oh, I was just going to say, I totally, that is exactly what I was thinking of. But then once you're able to do that, and how it's impacted just about every relationship I have, whether it's my kids, my business partner, my parents, my extended family, like it's impacted everything to come to that realization. And I had no idea how much that belief was shaping everything I did.
Yeah.
Everything I did had that slant, that belief that I was either under somebody's thumb, or that I had no say or no power. But like I say, once I made that connection, man, it's like totally changed my life.
The ironic thing about this, and life is often like this.
Did you say erotic?
No, ironic. Thanks for clarifying.
Oh, ironic, okay. I was like, whoa, I didn't even talk about that.
Good clarification. Thank you for that. I am so glad you clarified. Yeah, the ironic thing about this is Darren, you are physically a powerful man. You are like, we're both huggers, right? And so whenever I see you, we always exchange a hug. And when I get hugged by Darren, his arms are about strong as my legs, maybe stronger than my legs. And this last time I just remember like we hugged, and then you like put your hand on my back, and it actually like almost knocked me over. You were just like kind of giving me a pat on the back, and you're so powerful. And I'm kind of a wimpy lightweight, so it's David and Goliath here, but you almost knocked me over. I don't know if you know that, but But yeah, it's always intimidating to get a hug from you. But I'm not sure what happened to your audio, but we lost you, buddy. So if you're just joining us, the Darren illustrated very well the idea of step one and step two. So he has taken his power back. He got mentored. He started mentoring someone else. And I know he's done the forgiveness piece too. Before I move on to step four, Darren, are you back with us?
I think so. I went through a bad spot there. I apologize. I'm driving right now.
Okay, no problem. All right, moving along here. Step four is change the game. So in the book, the Relationship Secrets Black Book, we talk about the game you can't win. So many times when I'm talking to a new husband that I'm working with, his diagnosis is, dude, you're playing the game you can't win. And what is that game? I mean, basically, it's being a people pleaser. So if you're always trying to please your wife, if you're always trying to do, she says, do this, you do it. She says, do that, you do it. And it's like, you're confused because sometimes it's like she's changing her mind, like all the time. It's confusing because your game that you can't win is like, you're trying to predict what are the rules of this game. You don't know because they're always changing, because she's writing the rules. So stop playing that game. And here's some just practical things you can do. There's more detail on that in the Relationship Secrets Black Book. By the way, you can get that book for free at husbandonfire.com/blackbook. I keep referring to it. I might as well let you know how to get it. But the basic things you can do, some practical things, is you look at your mindset. So the game you can't win, you would say, am I doing this to try to please my wife? Or in the new game, where you don't try to please her, you just do what you feel like doing, what you feel is right. I mean, trust yourself. You're a good man. You are not a loser. You are not powerless. You are powerful. Again, these steps are in order. You have to do step one. You have to take responsibility and own your power. And do step two, get some help. Do step three, give forgiveness of yourself, of your wife. And then you can start to play this new game. And instead of doing stuff to please her, you do it because you want to. And you do it from a place of, you're not a jerk. You're not a pushover. You're somewhere in the middle. You're beginning to see what an awakened man is. It's somebody who knows who they are, who has their own goals and objectives, who is a man of honor, of strength, mentally and emotionally, of courage, and of mastery. Those are the things you start measuring yourself on. And you do stuff when you think through this, strength, courage, mastery, and honor, and you think, okay, yes, I'm doing these things because I want to. And she might say, can you, pick up something on the way home at the store? And if you're, and you can assess yourself, you can say, am I just doing this to try and please my wife? Because if I don't, I'll be in trouble. Or am I doing it because it's the honorable thing to do? And if you can honestly answer that question, yes, it's honorable, it takes courage, it takes strength and mastery, then you can do that thing. But if you're just doing the thing because you're afraid of how you might get treated if you don't do it, then I would avoid that. You got to give it a test. You got to try some things. Like your natural knee-jerk reaction is to do whatever she says. Stop doing that. Give it a try. So another thing is my mood dependent on her mood? Is there someone who wants to jump in?
I was going to jump in again, Scott, and just kind of clarify on that. And it's not like you have to change what you're doing, but it's more about the motivation for why you're doing it.
Exactly.
That was the biggest connection that I made, was because I come home at night and I clean the kitchen. That's the first thing I do when I walk in the door. For 5 years, I was pissed off every night doing that. because I believed that I was doing it because she wasn't doing it. Whereas when I made the decision in my mind, like, I could do it or not do it, but I prefer to have a clean kitchen. And I enjoy, it's like, you know, mumbling under my breath. It's more like changing your motivation for doing it.
Yeah. So before, if I can just restate what I'm hearing there, before you would come home, do it, and you're cleaning the kitchen, and all the while you're thinking in your head, doesn't she see that I'm contributing to the household? Doesn't she
Right.
know? I mean, all she does is complain. How come I'm not getting appreciated for this? This is what's going on in your head, right?
Right.
Before.
Yep.
Now you're just like, I want a freaking clean kitchen. So here I go. I'm going to clean this kitchen with mastery. Like, I'm going to be the most amazing kitchen cleaner because I like it this way. And if
Right.
she benefits from it, cool. But that's not even your thought, right? And if she
Right.
says, "Oh, thanks for cleaning the kitchen," you're like, "Oh, well, thanks." It's not like before when if she were to say, "Thanks for cleaning the kitchen," you'd be like, "Oh, you got a treat," right? You're like, it's so
Yeah.
pathetic, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right. So is my mood dependent on her mood? That's another sign of playing the game you can't win. If she's not happy and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not happy because my wife's not happy. But, or am I creating my own joy and peace? Like, my wife can be upset and I can still be happy. I know, Darren, you've said this before, like in the past, if things weren't going well, you wouldn't even be able to work. You would have to take the whole day off. Now you're just like at work, you're a transformed man at work too. You're getting stuff done. You are accomplishing goals that you know, in a new way. And even if it's not a great day with the wife, you're still getting stuff done, right? So, and then the game you can't win, the question would be, am I reacting in a tit for tat way? Like, she didn't give me, I asked for sex and she rejected me. So I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to, you know, take the garbage out, whatever, right? Tit for tat way. Or in the new game, or am I sticking to my ultimate objectives regardless of her reactions? And we're going to get to ultimate objectives. That's a super important part. One of the parts about being an awakened man or a husband on fire is, you know, your objectives. You are focused on what you want to do. And that sort of like directs your path regardless of what she does. And then again, the game you can't win, am I worried about how she'll react? Or am I staying focused on my non-negotiable goals and objectives? So that's step 4. Basically, just stop trying to be a people pleaser. I always like to say this, you know, your wife doesn't want a wet noodle. And that's what you're being if you're a people pleaser. She might think, oh, my husband's so nice. He just does everything I say. But deep down inside, she is kind of dying. And she's not attracted to you. She's not passionate about you if you're a wet noodle, because no woman is attracted to a wet noodle. Women are attracted to a strong, masculine, badass. That's what they're attracted to. Whether they will articulate it that way or not, you know, that's the truth. Step 5 is get focused. Define your non-negotiable goals and objectives. You got to get clear. And this is, again, where it's really important to get some help, to work with a mentor or coach to say, okay, I don't even know what's important to me. I've just been doing what she told me to do, right? So if you get clear on what's important to you, like, that's powerful. And I do an exercise, a total freedom exercise, for the guys that joined the Husband on Fire elite group. It's one of the first things we do, where you really look at it. You do a life wheel. You look at all the different parts of your life. You know, your other close relationships, your hobbies, your interests, your purpose, your passions. You know, everything about your life that's important to you. You look at, okay, what's missing and what's holding me back from total freedom, like to be explosive and, you know, just going. And then you get clear about your goals, and then you go into the why. In fact, in the Awaken Man community group, we did this a couple months ago as part of our group call here. So then once you know what is important to you, you get busy and you GSD, you get fill in the blank stuff done. Actually on my phone, I don't know if you can see this because I'm getting like a bunch of notifications, but on my phone, my, gosh, go away notifications. Anyways, it says GSD mode on my background on my phone. And I've had that there for several years since I first discovered these truths of Awakened Man steps here. But
you should show them your wallet, Scott.
Oh, I got a wallet here that let's see, I can't see my camera. There we go. Is that backwards? I don't know if it's mirror on your end or not, but thank you. Darren gave me that gift.
If you've seen Pulp Fiction, you know what his wallet is.
Yes, you have to have seen Pulp Fiction or else you're just right going, but get stuff done mode. In my mind, it's a different word, but we're keeping it clean. Get your morning routine dialed in. I have not met an awakened man who doesn't have his morning routine dialed in. He's getting up early. He's focused. He's already the night before decided what he's going to do as soon as his feet hit the ground. He's not hitting the snooze button over and over again. He's focused and determined. That's one of the signs of being a husband on fire is you know what you're going to do the instant you wake up. And your morning routine reflects that. So your morning routine, what is that? If you don't know what that is, the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod is the first, place to go for morning routine. But, basically you're gonna do, something physical, workout, exercise, stretch, yoga. You want to do some stillness, some mindfulness, some gratitude, some meditation, some prayer. You might want to do some reading. You might want to do some writing. But whatever your routine is, you have a dialed-in routine that gets you set up for the day. Because if you want to have day after day of just going and getting stuff done, you've got to start your day well with a morning routine. Vitality. If you're going to do all of this stuff, you have to have the energy to do it. What happens typically is you can go from being a couch potato who needs like 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep, or you're just exhausted, or drinking energy drinks all day long, or diet pop all day long. You go from that to I'm good with 6, 7 hours of sleep. If I'm getting 7 hours of sleep, I'm getting a lot of sleep. So 5, 6 hours of sleep is fine too. But I'm just so energized by my morning routine, my goals, the ability to live out my purpose. You got to have that kind of energy to get stuff done and to bring to your relationship the energy that's required. Because so far we haven't even talked about relationship skills. Of course, that's a part of it. This is just getting to the place of now you are ready to be the man you need to be the husband that your wife really does want, and to get the results from your relationship that you really do want. I mean, you can literally go from, like I was, stressed out, hopeless, completely lost and not able to figure out how to have a relationship with my wife, to passionate and energized and excited. And, we're more crazy about each other these days than ever before. And it's like an entirely different marriage since that bathroom floor stuff and applying this stuff. And then you got to rediscover yourself, like asking yourself, this is the thing that happens with men, husbands, in a long-term monogamous relationship, especially when you have kids, school, the diaper kids, the school-age kids, and you're a married guy, you give up your stuff. You used to do fun stuff. You used to go hunting, fishing, shooting, flying, motorcycles, outdoor stuff, camping, hiking, all the stuff you used to do, the sports, the working out, you used to do that stuff. but you've let it go because you figured, oh, that's not important. You are a man who's honorable and you've been a servant leader, but not so much a leader. You've just been a wimpy servant, right? So rediscover yourself. You have to do the things that created passion within yourself before. You just did those things automatically before. You've let them go. Now you got to be intentional about rediscovering what those things are. Yeah. So that's step 5, get focused. Then step 6 is this 90-day challenge mindset. And what that is, it's just a mindset. So here's the deal. None of this stuff is easy. It's not easy. You need to get into a group. You need to have a mentor. You need to surround yourself with other guys. You can't become more masculine. You can't become more courageous, more strong, more masterful, more honorable by, tapping into your wife. By hanging out with your wife, you're not going to get any of those things. The only way you get those things is if you are in a group of guys. You surround yourself with other awakened men, and you get yourself into a group where you're getting the support and you're getting the camaraderie. You're getting called out on your crap. That's where you go to get the masculine tank filled. And then you go to your wife and you're serving her. You're pouring into her instead of trying to take from her. That's going to be hard. That is not easy. And especially if right now you're in a place where you don't even know how to make it work with her. So here's the deal. You have to have a 90-day challenge mindset. I hope, and most of the time it takes less than, and I hope that it's less than 90 days for you. But if you just go into this, if you don't start step 1 until you say, it's going to take 90 days, I can do anything for 90 days. I always think of as P90X was a program that was super popular back in like 2008, 09. I think it's maybe still popular. I don't know. But I just remember the infomercials back then. And I was like, 90 days to go from, out of shape to like totally transformed body. I mean, they just showed, I don't know if you saw those infomercials, but they just showed before and after, and they showed the program. It was like, I was so inspired by that. I did the 90-day challenge, the P90X back then. And basically it's 90 days, every single day of working out and doing what Tony Horton says to do. And in my mind, I was like, I couldn't do that for the rest of my life, but for 90 days, I could do that. And you have to do this too. It's like you go all in. It's an all-in bet. Like in Texas Hold'em poker, you're going all in. It's like, if I don't survive, I will die, but I'm going all in. And I hope I survive. If you do that, you will have the right mindset to accomplish this. And there's a lot of things going on. I mean, from a scientific perspective, there's brain patterns, there's neural pathways, there's things you do. Like when she says this, you react that way. All that stuff has to be recarved out into your brain. And because you're dealing with not just your own brain, you're dealing with her brain too, it's going to take even longer than creating a new habit. Like you can set up your morning routine and do that habit and be totally transformed within 66 days for sure, if not much quicker. But a relationship change, a transformation relationship is going to take at least 90 days. Now, if you can make that a 180-day or a rest of your life challenge mindset, then great. But I'm just asking you to do a 90-day mindset, a 90-day challenge mindset. Like there's no matter what she does, if she'll keep going on being a B, no matter what she does, I'm going to do these steps. I'm going to be more honorable. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be more courageous. It takes a lot of courage to stand and be honorable and do the right thing and be your best self when she's coming at you with rage in her eyes. When she's saying all the usual trigger words, but you don't let it trigger you anymore. That takes courage. That takes strength. And for 90 days, if you can just do what you need to do, regardless of if she responds or not, that's the key. If you're thinking, again, the people pleaser guy, the game you can't win says, well, I'll do it as long as she does something. That's not going to work. The game you can win is you control your own rules. You take ownership for yourself. Mind, body, and spirit under control, no matter how she behaves, no matter how she performs, no matter how she reacts. You don't expect a reaction from her. Remember, the step of forgiveness, you forgave her for all that crap anyways, and you forgive her for the stuff she's gonna do. And so you keep that in mind. And if you can do that, you can survive this. But I recommend getting together with other guys. So next steps are read the book if you haven't already, The Relationship Secrets Black Book, where I go into depth of all this stuff, and then join the group. You can join the group, Husband on Fire, join.husbandonfire.com. It'll take you to our Awaken Life website, but in there is the Husband on Fire Elite Group. Now, the Husband on Fire Elite Group is guys like you and me and Darren, who was talking, and Caleb was talking, that we get together and we sharpen each other. We encourage each other. Even when she's being impossible, we can call each other. We can text each other. We can message each other. And we know what we're going through because we're all doing these steps, right? We're all doing this together. It's easier together. We get more masculine, more honorable, more courageous, more strong, and more, what's the one? I missed one. Anyways, we get those things together. So Husband on Fire Elite Group, you can check it out. I think it's a 14-day free trial. Get on there and you're part of the group. All right, any questions or comments? Okay.
One thing that I would, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Was somebody else talking?
Nope, that's you.
Okay. I like to listen to myself talk. I guess I was gonna comment on the 90-day challenge.
Good.
Because like I remember having that conversation with you last July, you know, and how quick it actually goes. Like once you start, if you can make that change and hold the line and start responding differently, like change comes fast. You know, to get where you truly want to go, like the ultimate obviously is a long road to go, but if you can make those changes in love and consistently over, like your wife responds quickly to it. And I would say that probably more of it has to do with you than has to do with her anyway. But sure. Like I say, that was my experience. Like I was just petrified to make those changes, but when I did, like, holy cow, like it wasn't, the sky didn't fall, you know, nothing major happened. And like I say, it went quicker than you think.
Yeah, I remember, I mean, this is pretty consistent. Your story is consistent with what's normal. That at first, I mean, I've had so many conversations with guys, and as you get to mentor other guys, you'll see this to be true. Like, they're thinking, you know, we've been so programmed by our culture, but you say, hey, you don't have to do that. You don't have to, you know, respond to every text message your wife sends you or whatever. You know, it's just, you can actually go do the thing that you wanted to do, even though she, you know, kind of turned her nose up on it. Guys don't, and it's not true for all guys, but guys who have the condition that we have recovered from, it's like, you've never heard that before. You're like, no way, that can't be true. That can't work. She's going to like leave me. She'll divorce me. She'll like whatever. But then to have a guy that can say, no, trust me, this will work. And that's what you're just saying. Like, it surprisingly works very, very quickly, right? And so you just have to get over that fear or that anxiety or whatever it is.
Yep. Well, like just for an example, today, so like normally I'm home around 4:30, and for a long time she would text me like during the day, what time are you gonna be home? And I'm self-employed, so I can kind of make my own schedule, and so I would always be like kind of in a rush to get home, like because in my mind I believed that was the reason she was asking me, was because she wants me to come home early, and like. But again, I totally built it in my mind. Well, tonight, like I'm in Corvallis at 4, getting on the road like at 4:30, and I text her like, "Hey, I'm gonna be home late, probably around 6, which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours later than I usually am." And she just gave me a thumbs up. Like there was no big deal. Whereas in the past, I would have been trying to apologize. I would have been trying to like shore things up. Like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm running so late. I'm so sorry, babe. Like whatever, groveling type
Yeah.
nonsense. And now, like to think about this like a year ago, that would have been unthinkable for me. And again, I'm sure it had more to do with me than it did her, but it was
Yeah.
like my perception of things. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Well,
like I
like
say that.
what I said at the very beginning of the call is you trained her that way. And so you have now trained her the new way. And now
Right.
she knows, he's just letting me know what he's going to do and not asking for permission. Oh, he just wants to let me know. And before you were asking for permission, and you trained her to say, well, no, I don't want you to do that. But now you know, or now she knows, oh, he just wants a thumbs up. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Great illustration. Thanks for that. Caleb, are you, I think,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Darren, Caleb, I haven't officially met you. I've just seen a lot of your activity in the group and just want to say hello. How are you?
Thanks, man. Caleb, is this Caleb Christensen?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I've seen you on there too. I saw your podcast the other day. I need to download that.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Shameless plug for me.
Yeah. So you could be a millionaire nurse. I want to be a millionaire business owner. That's kind of my goal.
Yeah, okay. Since you brought that up, that's not why I was chiming in, but
It's okay, man. Yeah.
No, well, it's a good segue. My podcast is a direct result of me standing up for doing what I want. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and the entrepreneur's journey, you have seasons of highs and lows and busyness and successes and failures. And as an entrepreneur, you expect that. That's just how it is, right? But those who are around you, your loved ones, are maybe not necessarily entrepreneurs, and they don't necessarily think the same way. They don't look for risks to take, calculated risks. It's not the way average society thinks. And so as an entrepreneur, that's just how you do it. And over the course of years, I had burned my wife out on these cycles, these highs and lows, and getting excited about businesses and getting really involved in them. And so it had just created this like growing tension and friction to the point where she's like, no more businesses, no more, no way. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. And so talking with Scott and really going through this transformation of my own awakening, I'm like, you know what? Okay, there are some things I can do to be honorable in my entrepreneurial journey, like proper time boundaries and not leveraging our family, getting us in debt, things like that, right? But to make the agreement that I'm not going to be an entrepreneur anymore because she doesn't want me to, or it makes her feel uncomfortable, or XYZ, because something related to her feelings, that was my dilemma. And Scott's like, you know what? Really, to be true to yourself, you need to draw the line in a compassionate way and say, this is who I am. This is what I do to become alive. And I've produced podcasts before, I've produced content before, but it had gotten to the point where I was so worried about my wife's perception on what I was doing in terms of like creative outlets, entrepreneurial things, even something as simple as a podcast, which if you know anything about podcasts, nowadays they're pretty much free to do. Like they require no investment. If you're looking for a no risk business, start a podcast, right? And so I had this desire to start a podcast, but I had allowed my wife's, I'd allowed the fear of what my wife was going to think about it stop me. And I finally just like, you know what? I'm not going to live in fear anymore. I'm just going to publish this thing. and I am going to be loud and proud about the fact that I'm an entrepreneur and I'm on this personal growth journey. And so I'm a nurse, so I've kind of blended the two topics. You know, how can someone who is in the institution escape the institution? What mindsets, what habits, what routines do you need to implement into your life if you want to set yourself free from your day-to-day job? And it was only because I made that decision and I just started publishing it. And I kind of warned my wife. I said, you know, I'm going to start publishing stuff online again, and not in like a, I don't know the right word, flagrant or in her face kind of way. It was just me saying, this is who I am. I'm sorry. And I'm open for discussion on how to do it honorably, but this is who I am. And it has been so empowering and so energizing and I can't say the word, transformative to me, just to go through that process.
Yeah, and I would first of all, I know that was
That's awesome, man.
a misspoke. Sorry, because you're not sorry. But to address something that I think might be a question in somebody's mind as Caleb was talking, you don't, because a jerk would do this, would not care what his wife thinks, would just say, I'm going to do this and you can, go fly a kite, right? To be super nice, right? A jerk would just do stuff and not care about his wife. That's not what we're talking about. So just to expand on Caleb's point, like he got determined about what was important to him and said, this is who I am. This is what I need to be. And here's the key difference. I can't control your reaction, wife. I can't control how you react to what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do this, and then I will listen to how you feel. Like, that's the key difference between an awakened man and a a-hole. An a-hole doesn't give a crap, right? We are not that. An awakened man will say, okay, I know that this is upsetting you. Tell me about it. And she can say, you know what, I really don't, it makes me super nervous when you go do your entrepreneurial thing. I don't like it at all. She might cry, she might yell, but an awakened man will say, oh, tell me. He knows that there's needs. Everybody has 6 human needs, right? And he's going to connect the dots. He's going to say, it sounds like what you really need is certainty. Like, you're really afraid that if I do this, everything's going to fall apart. Is that right? And then she goes, yes, that's why I'm so like freaking out. And he gets to see her with understanding. Again, because of that forgiveness step, he gets to see her in a whole new light, because he's owning his own stuff and he's taking power back for his stuff. He gets to see her from a different perspective with care and compassion. Those are fine things. You can be completely masculine and show compassion. It's the honorable thing to do. Anything you want to add to that, Caleb?
That forgiveness part, in the past, I had resentment towards my wife about her, to put it nicely, lack of support, lack of encouragement, lack of recognition of what I was trying to do. Because all my entrepreneurial pursuits, like 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs, they are less self-serving than they may seem. Because, to the outside world, like, oh, he just wants to do his own thing. He just wants to make money. But like, yeah, I want to do my own thing. I want to make money, but I want time freedom. I want to be able to create memories for my family. I want to be able to bless and provide for others. Like, those are the real reasons I'm doing this. No one would say otherwise. In fact, people would congratulate me for just kind of doing the whole corporate ladder thing and just showing up to work and being a good citizen and, volunteering at the YMCA on the weekends. But I want something deeper, and it's not selfish. And so when she would hurl all this junk at me related to me on this entrepreneurial journey, I usually get so resentful towards her. And I had to really stop, take inventory of my feelings, and kind of like feel where she's at and recognize, yeah, I've not always been a great entrepreneur. Yeah, I've leveraged our family, got us in debt. Yeah, I have taken away time and energy and resources from what we could have been investing into other things into my own thing. And so, yeah, ultimately in the end, I believe it'll pay off, but I recognize it has hurt us along the way to some extent. And I'm sorry for that. And that was me recognizing my own feelings and releasing that resentment towards her. And kind of to sum things up, to land this plane, the end result of this, I've started publishing this podcast. I've been doing some other entrepreneurial ventures, kind of more out in the open, less sneaking around, trying to steal hours, and just saying like, look, this is something I need to do. And as a result, we have come to this working agreement where I have 4 hours a week, blessed, supported, to work on entrepreneurial ventures. And now she is not just criticizing what I'm doing or saying, I don't want you to do this. Like, she's actually giving me ideas. She's giving me feedback. And I'm sitting at the kitchen table, working on the laptop. She's sitting down, working on her stuff. And it's great. But it started with just kind of drawing the line in the sand, owning up that I need to make some boundaries. I need to learn from my mistakes, and I need to let go of some of that resentment I was holding on to, and related to our situation in the past. So that's it.
Yeah, that's a transformation. That's awesome. And still in progress. We're all in progress, right? Well, we're going to wrap up. I want to give you the last word, Darren, if you have anything. But before that, make note of our next live group session. It's always the second Thursday of the month. And the next one is April 9th. Same time, same webinar channel, April 9th, 4 o'clock Pacific time. Darren, any final thought? And that's a wrap. Thanks for participating.
Darren is dead.
Yeah, Darren has left the building. But thanks for showing up, guys, and thanks for participating. Your input was extremely valuable and made for a much better call. So thank you so much for being here and participating and being a part of the Awaken Man community. Peace out. See you next time.